Ladies and gentlemen, we are on day 208 of Russia's full-scale invasion and on the ninth year of Russia's war against Ukraine. My name is Natalia Tabaka. On behalf of Mediacentru of Ukraine, I welcome all the journalists telling the world about our struggle for freedom. We have an unusual subject today. There's a project being implemented currently in Lviv called Travel Lviv, the history of your second home. Um, the idea behind this project was to give IDPs from eastern and southern Ukraine to tell them more about the Lviv region. There's a the, the basic idea is to give people from different regions of Ukraine to learn more about this region. It's an opportunity to bring people of the country together. To what extent it is successful, I will ask the organizers. I would like to give the floor now to Natalia Tabaka, head of the Resorts and Tourism Office of the Lviv administration. What are the results? Hello. This started on September 9th. We have 6 tours, 2 of which include trips to the Carpathian region and 4 tours of the city of Lviv. This covers 120 IDPs from Dnipro, from Zaporizhia, different ages. We have our youngest person is 3. The oldest so far has been 70. Even during a trip to the Carpathians, we had a person with disability with her parents, and they seem to really enjoy this experience. The idea is to bring Ukraine together and tell people more about how we live here, what sort of traditions we have, what sort of culture we have. And the idea here is to counteract the propaganda stories of Russia, to let people see, experience for themselves how Western Ukraine lives. I would also now like to give the floor to Oleksiy Poburko, head of the programs of the Malteser Relief Program in Ukraine. Pan Oleksiy, the Malteser Service supports this project. Why? The Malteser Service, we've been working in Ukraine for over 30 years. We've been implementing different humanitarian aid programs, and with the full-scale invasion, we started a number of actions that are aimed at promoting, at helping people with IDP status, internally displaced status. We hold 2 shelters for IDPs. We provide food both in the train station and in the shelters. We distribute humanitarian aid all over Ukraine. But beyond these basic needs, we understand that people who find themselves in Lviv have to understand what sort of environment they are in, why Lviv and the Lviv region are the way they are. And we included in our activities these sort of integration events, steps, helping people who travel Ukraine to see a different picture of the world. Prior to February 24th, statistics said that 70% of the citizens of Ukraine had never been beyond their region. And now, of course, we have a lot of internally displaced people, and we have the opportunity to show them the story of our land, of our little area, maybe help them understand why we are the way we are, and why this milieu looks the way it does. So a question for you both, or for whoever wishes to take it: is this a good time for such project? I'm sure there are many projects I'm sure there are many people who will say that the material resources and the funds would have been better spent on other things rather than leisure and tours. I'll start. Timeliness is measured about whether or not there's a demand. We want to join these sorts of projects because for 6 months, nobody left their town outside of Lviv. You know, and we've already said, as far as economics, you know, we've said that many of the restaurant owners and hotel owners came out and spent their own resources to receive IDPs. So I think we're grateful. So we're grateful to the Maltesers today for the financial support of the tourist branch. This is both food and transport and logistics, entry into museums, state museums. So this sort of financial support, this also presupposes our support for our economy, which is supposed to continue work. And so, you know, rest and rehabilitation is also important for human health, which we have to take care of. And in providing the in terms of providing, you know, heat and food for the shelters, we also have to provide this way of sort of taking time off. And uh, of course, as Natalia said, this could be seen as a sort of psychological rehabilitation. We started this work in reintegration of IDPs, or integration of IDPs. We started this in June when we started a children's camp for IDP children, and from all sorts of occupied and contact line territories, children often had to get to Lviv on their own, and some were in both in the first and the fifth iteration of the camp because they really wanted to be in this milieu again. And the main task we set ourselves was that the parents wanted or had to have some rest from the children as well, because the parents had sort of 10 days on their own, to be on their own, to take a break from daily troubles. If we have any questions in the room, please let us know. In the meantime, I will ask, what sort of tours have been the most popular, have had the best response? It seems to me that you know, the best response is when people want to repeat the tour again, and from the people who've already participated and want to continue again. Probably the warmest is when we had a group that went to the Carpathian Mountains. Um, they were moving in one rhythm, and even that person with disability, they had that equal opportunity to acquaint themselves with this territory. And even the idea, when on Saturday when we were on a tour of Lviv, when the traditional Lviv weather, you know, the rain wouldn't stop, and the tour didn't stop either, and nobody left. So these sorts of steps, um, this seems to indicate us that this is a very important project, and we're very grateful to the Malteser for their assistance. When we were preparing these tours, it was unexpected for us to hear that our guests want to understand, well, what is the center? What does it mean to go downtown? What does it mean to go to the center? For them, it means that coming down from Staysky Park to the center was far, because many of them had lived in different very large cities, and getting to downtown was either really geographically far, or they lived in very small towns and there's no clear sense of like downtown or central part of the city. And many people were interested in saying, well, we know you have mountains here, could you show us the mountains? Um, Once you set yourself the task for people of East and South to get a better idea of Galicia and the Lviv region, do you have, what surprised you? What surprised those people? What surprised people who had never before been to Lviv or the region? What has been surprising? What has been unexpected for them? Have they shared any discoveries? I unfortunately can't share any such thing. That was, you know, for many people it was the first experience even to just walk around with a guide, because it was a question of transfer, you know, either being taken to a shelter, or in the previous times they had been there, it was a question from train station to going to take care of whatever business they had in the city. So from something that I have to say, it's a tour accompanied by a guide who can tell you what's going on. That we have a question from the room, I think. Microphone, please. Could you tell us what sort of cultural, historical sites have tours of the Lviv region, and will the list grow? What places? So today we're talking about Lviv and Urich, the Tustань fortress, the historical reserve. We additionally had events from the historical towns. This wasn't in September. This was in spring and summer. They had their own tours for those who stayed there. But we want to focus on Lviv and the Carpathians in terms of our geography. These are this always brings out positive responses also as a first sort of encounter, because of course the Carpathian and Western Ukraine. What is the condition of the industry, of the resort and tourism industry and leisure industry in the region? It could be better. The sanatorium and resort branch right now is going through um, not very good trends, because many people who came in to stay, but to stay and to you make use of the but not to use the resorts. And we've been looking at the resort opportunities and health opportunities for both for military and for IDPs. So if we have people who represent foundations, we would love to work with you. Our sanatoriums have developed special programs and are prepared to take people in today. So I guess there's a broader question of, is there room for this industry in a wartime economy? If we take the summer and the spring, then based on the tourist income, and these are people who came in, this number has now we have now beaten the pre-COVID year, pre-COVID 2018. And so, yes, there is room, there is time, and there has to be time for those who are working day and night for the economy of the country. They have to be productive and effective. And so even a 2-day tour or a week-long tour um, is very welcome for both for the health of the person who's working and for the economy. And the final question about the future: we've had the summer camps, we've had tours. Do you have anything on the horizon? Any plans? We're going to start the so-called 6th shift of the camp for the children who are staying in Lviv but have the IDP status. We had a psychologist working, and many children who were not in Lviv or who left abroad or who went back home since the start of the war. Many of them wanted to reach out to the psychologist again, and we'll provide them the opportunity. And this program, Travel Lviv, will last at least until October, for as long as it's warm, and we expect about 400 people to participate. We expect to hold over 10 tours, excursions, trips, and these little steps, again, we hope these little steps will bring Ukraine together. Our tours for the IDPs and for the children who are staying here, we plan to extend these sort of living history lessons through the fall. With the children, we'll await sunnier days to have these in the Lviv region. We were talking about the project Travel Lviv, the history of your second home. With us was Natalia Tabaka of the Lviv Regional Military Administration, and Alexei Poburko, the Malteser Relief Service.